Welcome everyone to another episode of Travel Rolly Podcast. Today, Jeff and I are going to be talking with Miss Jenny Benson. She is the founder of Walking Tours in the UK. We're really excited to have her on. She's our exclusive partner. She's given all of our clients really great experiences in new cities. So, thank you so much for joining us, and please enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining the Travel Royally podcast. We're thrilled today to have as our guest Jenny Benson. She's the founder of Walking Tours in the UK. They're based in Glasgow, but they've got tour guides across the country, and now they're also in England. And I met Jenny several months back when we were booking guests on one of her tours, and she suggested that we have a wee chat. And our companies have a similar ethos, and we hit it off immediately. And now we are using Walking Tours in the UK exclusively. Jenny, welcome to the Travel Royally podcast.
Thank you. Can I just say I'm very impressed that you pronounce Glasgow correctly, because not a lot of Americans do.
Yeah. Well, and I can say Edinburgh and
nice. Them all.
Yeah, those are I think most Americans call it Glasgow, don't they?
Glasgow. Yeah, is what we get, like Glasgow.
Well, your company's based in Glasgow, but is that where you're from originally, or did you move there after school?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not from Glasgow. I'm from Dunfermline. Have you heard of it?
I've been there.
Oh, nice. What did you think?
Not a lot. A lovely large park.
Yeah.
With a cathedral next to it. And I actually got my hair cut there at a Turkish barber
nice.
For the first time, which was a very cool experience.
Yeah, very random. Very random. There's not a lot there now. It's but it is the historic capital of Scotland, and it's just become a city as well. Actually, it's the most recent city that's been granted city status in Scotland. So King Charles was there quite recently. Weird to say. Cool. But yeah, he came visited, and I am very excited because I'm hoping Dunfermline's tourism kicks off. But yeah, I'm originally from Dunfermline, very different east coast to west coast in Glasgow. But I moved to Glasgow in 2012, so 10 years ago, for university originally. I studied business and French at Glasgow University, and I've been there on and off ever since. I spent a year in France in the middle because I studied French, so moved there. And then I also spent some time in Vietnam for about a year, but I've been in Glasgow pretty much ever since.
Yeah, I went to Dunfermline. We were actually down at, now I'm probably going to mispronounce this, Ross.
Oh, Curtis, yeah.
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 That was a lovely little town.
Yep. Yeah, it's very cute. I'm actually going there tomorrow to meet a friend. Yeah, it's beautiful and has a lot of history as well, because it's got links to Glasgow, in that the patron saint of Glasgow actually originally comes from Curtis. They sailed to Glasgow from there, and it's quite far in the 600s to sail.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, from the it sits right on the Firth there, and you got a view of Edinburgh from there and the windy streets. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Where did you eat? Where did you eat there?
Actually, we ate in Dunfermline at a restaurant that used to be a church.
Oh, don't know where that is.
Well, here I am giving you ideas for your tour.
Yeah.
It was a very cool restaurant inside of a church. An old church. Okay. A big old church. Yeah, not far from there.
Yeah, I think I might know what you mean. I'm not sure what it's called, but yeah, nice.
Yeah. Well, tell us about the origins of Walking Tours in the UK.
Yeah. The history. So we started it, we're almost 6. We started it in 2017, and it's me and my business partner, Liv's company. We met at university, and we were still at university when we started the company. So it was a student company for a while. But basically, it hit January 2017. We were graduating in June or May, I suppose. And we were like, we don't particularly want to sit in an office for the whole summer and for the rest of our lives. So we thought we'd try to build a tour of Glasgow. We realised that there was no daily history tour of the city, which was very odd when you consider Edinburgh. You know, you go to Edinburgh and you can do 100 tours in one day if you want. So we built it from there, put up a Facebook page, put up a very crap website, and it just completely took off the first summer. Clearly, people were wanting to discover Glasgow. So after that, we realized that we could probably kind of build that similar idea, having local guides in cities that don't tend to have the daily tours elsewhere. So
Right.
we decided to expand in 2019 to Stirling, Inverness, and St Andrews initially. So we were in 4 places at that point, and that was when we really realized there's a real gap here for daily walking tours in smaller places in Scotland. We need to expand out of Edinburgh. We need to bring tourists away from Edinburgh and give them the chance to explore places with a local, essentially. So from there, we did Edinburgh in 2020, which was, you could argue, an interesting choice to launch a new city in COVID. But the actual reasoning behind that was we were always a bit scared of Edinburgh because there's a lot going on and a lot of companies there. So it was almost the perfect time because we could shape it as city tours for locals by locals. So it was aimed at locals initially. And obviously from the business side, it makes sense because when we're working with companies, like yourself and companies who bring people to Scotland, we needed to offer Edinburgh in the end anyway, So then we doubled the business this year again. So we were in 5 places and then no expansion in 2021, but we decided to do it this year. So we launched Oban, Aberdeen, South Queensferry, Liverpool, Leeds, and Birmingham this year. And the idea is very much remains the same. It's local guides, local experiences. It's just we're kind of managing from the back a bit more. And we are currently the only company in the UK that offers as many places as we do with local guides.
Excellent. That's fantastic. Now, what would you say are your most popular destinations?
Glasgow's definitely our most popular, but it's because we've been there the longest. We've had 5 years. We have such a wide range of tours there as well, and we live here and our office is here, so we kind of have links. But Inverness is also a very busy place for us. I know, which is surprising. But a lot of people traditionally, and this is what I love about what we do, traditionally people would go to Inverness for an hour, literally, or as a place to stay, and then do the North Coast 500. Take the week trip or whatever it is around the North Coast. But you need to encourage people to stay in the places that they're staying in, and giving them something to do and something to see. So yeah, Inverness has been great. St Andrews is also very busy for golfers. You'll find this really funny, actually. When we first decided to launch St Andrews, my business partner Liv said, "Oh, it's just going to be full of golfers' wives, our tour." And I said, "Do not be sexist. There will be all types of people, including, women's golfers' husbands potentially, but we do get a lot of golfers' wives, and that's absolutely fine."
Yeah. Well, for me, I'll talk about that in a minute. But one of the things I wanted to draw on, I thought was interesting was, it seems like I'm going to say 90% of our people that go to Scotland fly into Edinburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, we'll be having more tours of Edinburgh. And I've spent very little time in Glasgow. I went to the Olympics in 2012 there. I saw the U.S. women play.
Oh, nice.
I think it was Columbia at Hampden Park.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I've spent a little more time there, but I've always felt it to be more of a working class city than Edinburgh. And I know that it's evolving. And so tell us about some of the differences between Edinburgh and Glasgow.
That is the big question for people that live in Edinburgh and Glasgow. Well, I would argue that Glasgow's better. And a lot of Glaswegians will be happy to hear that. But seriously, the people are a lot nicer in Glasgow. Glasgow's official slogan is "People make Glasgow," and you can chat to anyone. You go to a bar and you'll probably get into some sort of chat with with a local, even, especially as a tourist, it's such an interesting place to people watch and kind of get to know people. Whereas in Edinburgh, as a tourist, if you go to a bar, there's no chance, a person from Edinburgh is going to chat to you. So people are a lot friendlier, but also it is the industrial city of Scotland. There's a lot of dark history in the slave trade. Is the only reason that Glasgow is as prosperous as it is. But since industry fell in, the late 1800s, it's like every city in the UK, it declines, it becomes a working class city. But out of that, and I think Birmingham's very comparable, out of that comes a lot of art and a lot of culture. So Glasgow is the official music city of Scotland. It's the first UNESCO music city in the UK, which is incredible. It's kind of an iconic place that big musicians will come to play, and the arts as well.
Like King Tut's Wah Wah Hut.
Yeah, exactly, King Tut's. My partner works there.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, she's a promoter there. So yeah, it's an iconic venue, and you've got the Barrowlands as well, which is, I don't know if you know the big sign, the big colourful sign. It's also iconic. A bit bigger, that one as well, 10 times the size. But yeah, and loads of art galleries. We've got Charles Rennie Mackintosh, the world famous architect. So there's that. Glasgow is funner, but Edinburgh is just, I am biased, but I'm not too biased because I also love Edinburgh. Edinburgh is beautiful. As soon as I get the train in from Glasgow, and you're under the castle, when you come in, my heart's like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, Waverley Station's a beautiful, that's probably my favorite train station, because when I've traveled there from England, or I'm trying to think where else I traveled to from there. Anyway, I love that train station.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And as a golfer, I'm thrilled that you guys are in St. Andrews. And next year, we've got a couple dozen folks, actually more than 40, that'll be taking the We Walk and a Cocktail tour. So tell us about that. How did that come about?
Yeah, thank you for booking them on. Also, you're gonna have to come along. But yeah, the We Walk and a Cocktail is a new product this year, 2022, and we built it completely in collaboration with Rusacks. We actually met the events women there. She invited us. I can't remember, I should have checked, but yeah, she invited us to come for a walk around Rusacks, and we were up at the 18 bar and just chatting about it. And I was like, you know what, I think people would love to see, the Tom Morris portrait that they've got in there. The 18 bar overlooks the 18th hole on the old course. I mean, what better position can you get, to sit and have a cocktail or any drink really. So it just sort of went from there. We said, let's build something together. We think it would be really valuable to tourists to have, for tourists who don't particularly like walking for an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe they can do an hour, and then we can do a drinks tasting with a local guide, because I think there's so much value in just spending time with a local. And whilst our product is a walk with a local, there's a lot of value in sitting down and having a drink with a local as well, and that's what I would love to do if I was traveling. So that's where the idea came from. We built it, and it was up and put and ready for May, and then we've had a slow trickle of bookings over the year, and people seem to have loved it. And I know that the guides that do it also love it, because it's kind of more chill. The people that take that tour are not as interested in the nitty gritty of the history. They kind of just want maybe a little overview, and then they get to enjoy one of the golf themed cocktails overlooking the course with a local. It's perfect tour, in my opinion.
I agree. I think we've got 9 groups taking that tour next year. And I'm going to be there in late January, early February.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll need to go.
Golf Tourism Week.
Oh, nice.
So maybe I will take a tour.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me know. We can chat about it after.
I hope I get a good rate.
Oh, you will. I'll give it to you for free. Don't worry. It's on me.
I'm hesitating because Hayden, I think he's going to try and join.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So, well, and most of the people that we have are going to be not golfers' wives, but the entire group, including, and we've got some groups where there will be golfers and their non-golfing wives, or golfers and their golfing wives, or what have you.
Yeah.
So you guys were doing quite well in Scotland. What led you to say England's next, and do you have other expansion plans?
Yeah, I know. It's an interesting one. I think we've always wanted to grow. At the end of the day, we're not the guides. I would not be the best guide. We hire the best guides for it to be that. But at the end of the day, we're interested in business, and we're interested in growing a small business and seeing what we can push it to. And I know we chatted about that in a little bit when we were chatting. But so that really interests me, and I think it makes a lot of sense to continue growing into England, because a lot of the companies that we work with, a lot of the travel trade side, are also taking people to English cities. And I think there is a lack of that also in the places that we chose. So Liverpool is a huge tourist destination. It's second to London. So it's the Edinburgh of England, besides London. And but Leeds and Birmingham are much smaller destinations. They don't get the same footfall, but again, they don't have necessarily a daily tour that is completely accessible, so it's available every day of the year almost, and available to travel trade as well. A lot of tour companies across the UK are just one-man bands, so they're just one person running their tour 3 times a week. So Leeds and Birmingham are missing that as well, and we've had a very good year in both of those places, better than Liverpool. So there is a need for that local guided experience in a lot of places, and it doesn't currently exist. So we identified them in England and launched them, and Ireland is in the works. I know you mentioned that.
Exactly, it should be.
Yeah. We definitely want to do Ireland at some point and kind of master the UK, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Well, Jenny, thank you for that response. Here's Hayden.
Hi, Jenny.
Hayden Moore is my partner. He's jet
Nice
lagged.
to meet you.
He flew in late from California last night.
Oh,
Yeah, I was over there for Thanksgiving. Nice to meet you.
You too. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was one that was with the 57 people.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Was the person cooking not dead at the end of the day?
Well, they have an army of family members cooking, so.
Fair. That helps.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so a lot of people that travel might say, why should I take a tour guide at all? I can find my way around a city or a town. What do you say to that?
You're wrong. No, I'm joking. Obviously, each their own. I think there's a lot of value in visiting a place yourself. However, personally, when I travel, I want to gain insights from locals, and I'm not just talking about, I want to learn about the history and culture of a place, which I do, and I think a local guide can kind of compact that. It's not the same walking around Edinburgh and then having Wikipedia with Edinburgh Castle on your phone. It's better to have the guide there. But also, my favorite parts of tourism, we emphasize this with the guides, is actually, what's your favorite restaurant? What's the best restaurants in the cities?
Right.
Where's the best place to get a coffee? Where's the best place to get a pastry in the morning? Where's even just like, where should I get my shoe shined if you want to do that? Or where's the best Turkish barber in Dunfermline? If you'd had a local guide, they could have guided you to that.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, I did think about this before, and another thing that I really like about having a local guide is understanding the kind of people's view of the city or of the country. So a lot of our guides get asked about Scottish independence, for example, or Brexit. You can read about that on the BBC or you know, an opinion piece in the Guardian, but actually having a conversation with somebody who lives in Glasgow, for example, which is a very liberal, left wing, you know, pro independence city for Scotland. Having a conversation with someone about that is much more interesting, you know, I think. And there's a lot more to a tour than just getting the history and the dates.
Well, I think the other thing that's great, when we've had, Hayden and I have had guests come back, and they said this, that because one of the things that we like to do, I'll start off with what we like to do.
Mm-hmm.
We like our people to arrive on a Sunday morning, right? Mm-hmm. They come into Edinburgh. We get them up to St. Andrews. The old course is closed, so they can walk the old course. And then, like the couple that we had that were with your person, I think it was Amy, right?
Yeah.
They said it was great to get acclimated to the town.
Yeah.
So they knew where to go. They knew where the shopping was and so forth. Right?
Exactly. You get your bearings as well, you know. And that's why I always recommend it on the first day of your place in a city. So if you're spending a few days there or a town, is just get your bearings. You know, it's not hard in St. Andrews when it's 3 streets, but maybe better for other places. But yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a good point too.
Yeah, but even with St. Andrews being just 3 streets, you've got the castle, you've got the cathedral, you've got the graves of Old Tom and Young Tom, you've got their places of residence, you've got the university, which I say looks like Hogwarts. It was the
beaches.
Yeah, you've got the cathedral was. I mean, I think St. Andrews was like the ecclesiastical capital of Europe in the 1500s.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a wonderful lot of history there. Witches being burned, right on the spot of like Martyrs Monument, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Jenny,
just right down at the street. Sorry.
When I no, you're fine. When I went for my first time, if I hadn't have been with Jeff, I would have had no idea what to do, where to go.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of these groups that we're taking, it's their first time. So getting a tour their first day, it would really be a good start to their trip, so they feel more comfortable. They know what to do. They can plan ahead.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. And not only do you not know where you're going or really where anything is, but you don't know anything about what's around you. You know, as you say, you can walk along the scores just on the beach and you've got the old course in front of you, but also it's where the witches were burned, and that's a huge part of St. Andrew's history, you know, so there's so much to be added with taking a guide, for sure.
And Chariots of Fire was filmed there on the
exactly
beach.
Have you reenacted it running down the beach?
I want to go back to something Hayden said. Hayden, what you're saying is you can't live without me. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, here we go. That's what he wanted to hear.
Yeah. Feed the eagle.
It's true.
Exactly. So what would you say makes your company, Walking Tour Guides in the UK, different from other tour guides?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I thought about this as well before, and I kind of want to split the answer into 2 kind of parts, because there's an interesting side on the business side, but also on the guide side. So what makes us different in business terms is that, again, we're the only people in the UK that are doing this many places. You know, if somebody's coming to Scotland or Scotland and England, and they don't know where to go or what to do, they can go to one place and be like, oh, I can do all these tours. And once you've done a tour and you've connected with the local guide, you can trust, you know, that the quality is going to be there in the next place as well. And maybe the guide up in Inverness knows the guide down in Birmingham that they're going to be with. You know, they have access to who's doing what, so they can say, oh, your guide's going to be this, he's great, you know, or whatever. So I think there's a lot of benefit from the business side of operating in many places and keeping the quality, you know, and having a one shop for guides. You know, they're accessing a network of locals across the whole country. From the guide side, prior to us, and probably still continues to be, there's a stereotype that guides in the UK are kind of stoic and boring and stand there and kind of give you loads of dates and kind of run through things kind of quickly and just want to be done and be home. And we kind of wanted to change that. When we're hiring guides, I kind of know within 20 seconds of the call if I'm going to hire them or not, or 20 seconds of meeting them. But I've been doing a lot of hiring on Zoom, because there's an energy and a passion there that's maybe come across in their cover letter or CV, or within the first 20 seconds. When you're a tourist and you're somewhere new and you're meeting a guide, the last person that you want to show up is a grumpy person, who just doesn't really care about St. Andrews. They're just there to make their money. I would want somebody who's just has an energy about the place and who cares about the place, who wants to show it off. So we really focus on getting passionate locals who love what they do. And I think they're not traditional guides necessarily, all of them. None of them have blue badge or green badge status, and that's purposeful. It's meant to be just locals who love their place. So I think that's what sets us apart from other companies.
Well, we've got one group that's taking 3 tours with you: Glasgow, Edinburgh, and St. Andrews. And if you had someone in Ireland, I had to arrange someone to give them a tour of Dublin. So you would have gotten tours. But I think I think the point that you make is a good one. Because I want you to think of it like this, Jenny. When I hire you, right, I've got clients that are paying us a fair amount of money, right? And they're trusting me that I'm putting them in good hands.
Yeah.
Right. So if I get someone that's grumpy, unknowledgeable, unfriendly, that reflects, of course, it reflects badly on you, but it reflects badly on me as well.
Absolutely.
So it's important. I'm glad that you've got that kind of, for lack of a better term, quality control about the people that you hire and the expectations that you set for how they perform and interact with your guests.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very on my mind, this topic, because we've just done our feedback from the guides from this year. And obviously, as we've discussed, we've expanded a lot. So there's, there can be pains in growing, but the feedback has really reassured me, because a lot of the guides, we work the company in such a way that there are expectations, yes, but it is very, it's a very relaxed way to work. They're freelance guides. They're there to do it because it's not a full-time job. They're there because they want to be there. And we try to be as open to feedback and change as possible, especially, for example, for the England expansion. We know nothing about Liverpool. These guides have really built their own tours and want to be a part of, this new city. So that's been really cool to know that the guides are all super comfortable and love being a guide. And that's the most important thing to me, because especially as you're hiring in a new place, it can be really hard to find quality. So we take our time. We had a very small team in the English cities this year because we're not going to take on guides that are not where we need them to be.
So if and when you go to Ireland, you're gonna have to change the name of the company.
I know. Well, I think UK is Ireland as well. But if we go to UK is Ireland, it's Great Britain that's not. I think.
No. Let me.
Is it the other way?
Yeah, Northern Ireland is part of the UK. The Republic of Ireland is like they're in the EU. So
but one of the terms does incorporate Ireland, but I can't remember which.
Well, the British Isles incorporates.
Oh yeah.
Or in golf, they call it GB&I, Great Britain and Ireland.
Yeah, true. Do you know what? We'll be called Walking Tours in Ireland over there. That'll do.
Well, I think you should change the name of your company to Prestige Worldwide. Have you seen the movie Step Brothers?
Yeah, but not in a while.
Well, that's the name of the company they created. Prestige Worldwide.
Where they wreck the boat.
Right.
Mrs. Worldwide. We'll get Pitbull involved.
There you go. There you go. Hey, you have any questions?
Yeah, well, you talked earlier about trust is one of the biggest things, and our trip that we just sent recently, we had one of our trusted friends meet them at the airport, take them to their first destination. They had his phone number, could ask him anything. I think having somebody that's a local, knows the area that you can call on, and trust is huge.
Yeah.
So I agree that you can't just hire anybody. You have to build that trust, and that's what we try to do with our guests is
Yeah.
build the trust so that they're comfortable.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Especially when it's a lot of people's lifetime trip. It's a really important trip.
Very
It's not
important.
that close. It's quite a far way to go as well. You
Yeah.
need to have you need to have people you trust.
I wanted to ask you what's your favorite spot, but I know you'd say Glasgow, and then I would ask, what would you recommend someone that's visiting for the first time? Where should they go? And of course, you're going to say Glasgow again. So, what I want to ask is this: what would be a city or a town or a tour that you would offer that would surprise people? Like people would. Here we go. It's going to be Glasgow again.
I know. No, I'm not gonna say Glasgow. We've
No,
shunned Glasgow now.
someone would literally go, "Wow, I had no idea."
Yeah, that's a good question. To be honest, I think St. Andrews, actually. There's a lot more depth to St. Andrews than people think. Just to give you a quick example, one of our guides is a scientist, and he had to leave us recently because he's doing science full time, but he built a science tour for us, and he still does that as a private. But St. Andrews was like the center of science for a very long time.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have cameras without scientists from St. Andrews. We wouldn't have lots of different things, and I can't remember anything. But I just remember it was an hour and a half of just science, and I was so fascinated by by everything that he was saying that happened within the town itself. So not even just that, but also, as you say, the witches, the religious history, the amount of fights, petty little small town fights that went on that actually had influence across the world. The fact the university is incredible, but there's lots of little hidden gems as well.
Yeah. Good answer, by the way. But I'm gonna
Your
have to go.
favorite?
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to go to Glasgow, I think, at some point and take a tour.
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna say a little bit about Glasgow, about a change in mindset, and that the first year I guided, I was doing the tours myself. The first year, me and Liv, and originally there were 3 hours, which is way too long, which is why they're now an hour and a half. But you would honestly watch, particularly Americans, North Americans, watch their face and their opinion of Glasgow just completely change from the start to the finish. Even English people still say Glasgow's just full of drunks and dirt, but it's not. But that's enough. No more Glasgow chat.
Well, they're drunks, but they're nice drunks,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
We won European, was it European friendliest city, but also capital of crime in the same year. So there's a slogan that we say that's they'll stab you, but they'll call an ambulance for you after. So it's fine.
By the way, that reminds me, I've got a magazine. I'm going to hold up. You won't be able to see it very well because of
No.
but it's Travel and Leisure, which is a US based magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the United Kingdom as destination of the year.
Nice.
Right. So they've got, if there's something in here about about Glasgow, I'm sure I skipped it. But they've got a big thing on Belfast.
Nice, yeah.
So, I would think for you, the three main cities quickly in Ireland would be Belfast, Dublin, and Killarney. Those are the three. Well, I mean, there could be others like Galway or Limerick, but a lot more tourists go to Killarney.
Yeah. But do you do a lot of work in Ireland then?
We do. We love Ireland. Yeah. We've got, I'm looking up because I got a list of all the trips that we've got next year. And we've got Well, we've got 12 people going there next year.
Nice.
But yeah, Ireland's amazing. We love GB and I.
I want to do more. I'm getting a lot of their destination marketing on my Facebook and Instagram, and it's working because all I want to do is a road trip right around the full coast. And actually, I was at a conference in Inverness yesterday, and they had Fáilte Ireland, the organisation, which interestingly, Ireland has two destination organisations. Tourism Ireland is aimed at, you know, out with Ireland, but Fáilte Ireland only tries to get domestic tourism, which is really interesting. But anyway, it made me just want to go. The food, the drives, the hill walking looks amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I can connect you with someone with Tourism Northern Ireland.
Oh yeah.
Belfast is really an up and coming city, right? I mean, and the history there and the troubles and it's fantastic. So but I can connect you with someone there.
Yeah, great.
And are you going to participate at all in Scottish Golf Tourism Week?
No, we don't even offer a golf tour currently in St Andrews. We're not as involved in it as I would like to be. It's not something we've ever done, and we'd only really do it for St Andrews anyway. But I know that there is a golf tour guy as well in St Andrews, and we're very wary of stepping on toes as well.
Gotcha. That was leading into my next question. Y'all might have covered it earlier, but what's the most demographic of, is it golfers that are coming in, or is it just tourists?
It's mainly golfers and golfers' families for sure. But there's a lot of English people that go up to St Andrews as well, so English tourists. But St Andrews in particular is all basically, 80% Americans visiting for golf reasons.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You wouldn't, I mean, it's not easy to get to, it's not on like an easy trail up to the next, up to the Highlands or anything. Yeah. So there's no reason to go there unless you're going there.
Exactly. It's not on the way to anywhere, right?
No. Well, maybe Dundee and Aberdeen, but not really.
What's the one thing every visitor in Scotland should see, you think?
A Highland cow.
Without using the word Glasgow.
A Highland cow.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm glad you said that. The coo.
The Highland coo. Yes, that's the number one thing you have to see in Scotland.
I agree 100%. You will. I'm going to tell you something that you'll find very funny. Mm-hmm. My girlfriend and I were over there in 2021 for the entire summer, right? 2 months we were there. We were looking for a Highland coo everywhere, like on the drive down to Dunfermline and Coolrush and up to wherever we went. And then finally, I was driving outside of St Andrews up the coast road past the Fairmont, and bam, there's a little farm and we stopped there, I bet 3 times to take pictures of those, trying to get the perfect.
Yeah. It's funny because wherever they are doesn't seem to keep them for very long. So one day I was driving home from Glasgow to Dunfermline to my parents' house, and the farm on that road had changed to Highland cows, and it's now no longer. They were there for maybe 2 months, but I freaked out. I stopped the car. I texted my family and I said, there are Highland cows at this place. You need to go see them. And there were tons of them. I've never seen that many in such close proximity. But yeah, once you see one, it's a rare occurrence. So you've got to embrace it.
I'm with you. They're beautiful animals and very photogenic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
They love it. They're so my favorite animal by far.
But Hayden, do you know what we're talking about? A Highland coo?
Not really.
Okay,
oh my God.
It looks like an American steer, like a longhorn. It's got big horns, but it's got bangs. It's got like shaggy hair. It looks like a Beatles haircut on a.
They're adorable.
Very cool. They're huge animals.
That's the one thing I wish I would have seen more of when playing is animals, wildlife.
I don't think
Next time.
we got much of that.
Oh, he saw some wildlife. There just weren't any animals involved.
Just people. No,
People I
next
was
time you have to
playing with.
prioritize.
People I was playing with was wildlife too.
Wild animals, yeah. What do you suggest, Jenny, that people do before meeting up with one of your guides? How should they prepare? I'm guessing they need to bring a brolly and comfortable shoes, but
Yeah,
beyond
a
yet,
lot of people don't.
what do they need to be prepared for?
Scottish weather is very adaptable. So definitely prepare for all weathers, wear layers, bring a brolly for sure, wear comfortable shoes, and if you can, go to the toilet. Because I know a lot of guides have irks about people showing up 5 minutes late and then saying, "Can I go to the toilet?" So we're already 10 minutes behind. But no, go just get yourself a coffee, get yourself ready to explore.
Should they? Do you suggest that they do any historical research so that they can ask some questions? I mean,
Yeah, it's a
not.
good question. I suppose it depends on the person. If that's the only tour that they're going to do, say in Edinburgh, and they do want certain questions answered, then absolutely. But I don't think so. You're getting the overview, and I'm sure as you're going around with any guide, any tour that you do, questions will pop up as you're seeing stuff. But if maybe if you're wanting to ask about independence or a political idea or something like that on one of our tours or any tour, you can maybe speak to the guide at the start and say, "I would like to ask you about this at some point. Is it going to come up? Or is there a best time that I could ask you?" As well, it gives the guide time to prepare, because I know a lot of guides don't actually like talking about politics. When I was guiding, I once mentioned Trump on one of my tours, and I definitely should not have. So I cut that out my tour from then on. But politics can be divisive. So yeah.
Politics and religion are two things to
maybe.
steer away from, generally speaking, right?
But they're so interesting, especially in Scotland. So
Right.
it's hard.
Yeah, I mean,
I could just watch from a distance.
I saw a picture of your former, I forget his name, Prime Minister.
In the UK or
No, in Scotland. What do they call them? The head of
Gordon
the
Brown.
Yes.
The first minister.
He was wearing jeans. He looked very frumpy. He's standing looking on a street corner. He looked like an everyday man. You're like, holy cow! Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Holy
He's
coo.
had a rough paper round recently. Oh, okay, I like it.
That's my new saying.
Holy coo. Well, Tino appreciates that. So how can people find walking tours in the UK?
Yeah. So just Google, if you search it, walking tours in the UK, we should come up. We kind of operate under walking tours in Scotland and walking tours in England. So if you search either of those, we'll also come up. We're on Facebook as Walking Tours in Scotland and Walking Tours in England as well. So Facebook, Instagram, and Google.
If I start talking about you guys on my phone, is it gonna pop up on my Instagram feed?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. No, we don't do marketing like that.
Sadly, she says. Okay. Hey, any additional questions from you?
No. I'm excited to hear, our first trip that's doing a tour with you and see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were just saying we'll get you in the wee walk and the cocktail tour with one of our guides if you've got the time when you're there next.
Yeah,
he's going to give us a good rate.
Yeah, I'll give you it for free.
Yeah, if you can change the name for us, though, we'll do a wee walk and a couple cocktails.
Fair enough. Do you like whiskey, the two of you?
I'm adapting the past few years.
Yeah, we've
this guy likes to force scotch down my throat, so
yeah. An acquired taste.
He really he doesn't put up much of a fight, let me assure you. Yeah, I've done distillery tours and tastings, and I love it. But we were at Hayden, you weren't there, but last week we were at on Friday, Dick and Dale and I were at our golf club, and they had one whiskey from Scotland, and it was Dewar's. I don't even know if that's right. They had one. It's a blended. They didn't have any single malts.
Oh my God!
At
Really?
our golf club, Murray, up in Lossiemouth, they've got 64.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, to have one, I don't think it's not that expensive to import. We import so much to the US that it's surprising that they've not got even a few more.
Yeah, I agree.
I've got more Scotch bottles here than Black Creek.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Exactly. That's a good point, Aiden. That's funny.
I was very lucky. I was saying to Jeff earlier, Hayden, that I was in London for Visit Scotland's North American mission last Thursday, and we were very lucky that the Clydeside distillery was there. She was doing a tasting, so we got whiskey out of a cask that is not even sold.
Wow.
They don't even sell it, so it was very special. But I hate whiskey.
Oh yeah.
So I was enjoying it. She said, I said no at first, and then she was like, "You can't buy this." I said, "Okay, well, I have to have some. If you can't buy it, it's special." But yeah, it's an acquired taste.
My wife always tries to drink whatever glass I have because she wants to start liking it. She wants to maybe have a glass, and every single time she's like,
"Yeah, it takes time." I think.
Yeah, it's an acquired taste, could be true. What about haggis? Do you like haggis?
I love haggis. Do you guys?
Haggis meatballs were good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Haggis, neeps, and tatties.
I liked it until I watched a YouTube video on how they make it, and then
yeah, don't do that.
You can't watch it. Hey, don't even look. You can't even watch.
No, it's disgusting.
But it tastes good.
Yeah, it's great. And actually, vegetarian haggis, a lot of Scottish people say is better, and it's not obviously then cruel or disgusting. But I love both. I could eat both haggis bonbons, haggis neeps and tatties. And on that, I did actually want to mention, I forgot at the start that it's St. Andrew's Day today when we're recording this. So
oh wow.
Yeah.
St. Andrew's Day. That's amazing.
So it's a very fitting day to have haggis.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we need to get Hayden on one of your tours, the We Walk in a Cocktail, because
that would be awesome.
When he hears where the name St. Andrews came from, it's just fascinating, right? I mean, it's fascinating. So
I don't know if y'all talked about this earlier. Are you doing Liverpool?
Yeah, we do.
So the that should be huge here coming up with the Open.
Yeah, that's a great comment.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what,
have a trip coming.
Yeah, and by the way, I'll be able to book a trip now that you mentioned that. I've got a father and son that are going over next June.
Oh, nice.
Where I can get them into a tour with you. That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But what Hayden's alluding to is that next year the Open Championship is going to be at Royal Liverpool, which is in Merseyside, and there'll be a lot of North Americans there staying in Liverpool. So, I mean, I can do what I can to help you, but there will be thousands.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that actually. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll take my commission. 5%'s fine.
Yeah, a free tour wherever you go.
There you go.
I'm welcome tours in the UK Black Card.
As long as the cocktail's free too.
It will be.
I'm just kidding. That's not the most important part. I'm just kidding.
Well, Jenny, it's been an absolute pleasure having you.
It has.
We enjoyed learning about walking tours in Scotland, hearing more about why you love Scotland so much, and it really confirms why Hayden and I love Scotland so much. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for giving us some time today. Really loved hearing about your growth in your company and where it's going from here. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you next time.